demean him publicly like this.
Wait, you didn't come to any of the other ones?
No, this is the first one.
Oh my goodness.
I remind him all the time.
Good.
Tony, can I get like 2 minutes to talk about JBoard before we start the workshop?
Yeah, totally.
Nice. Thank you. Alright, we gonna give it till... What do you say?
8:05 at... Well, 8:05 at the latest, but we'll see.
8:05 at the latest? Yeah, normally we go 8:03, I would say, before we get things rolling. Already, it looks like we have our core people here who attend most of the workshops. But, yeah, we can definitely wait a few more minutes. You want to make an announcement in the announcements channel? Just tell everyone that we're starting now?
Yeah, sure.
I know you were right about, I didn't realize why you wanted the workshop to be an hour until like 10 minutes ago. I was like, oh, he wants it to be an hour because the debate is on it, not.
Yeah, yeah, ideally.
And I'm sure, I don't know who wants to watch the debate. I'm going to watch it, at least I'm going to try and watch the debate. I'm falling asleep during it, but I'll make
presidential?
Yeah, presidential debates.
Oh, fuck no, that's a waste of time.
What do you mean, dude? It's hilarious.
That's a big old waste of time.
Alright, we'll give it another minute, and then I'll do a JBoard presentation, and we'll see if we pick anyone else up on the way.
Alright.
Alright, hang on. I'll live stream real quick. It is... yeah. Could we get an e-board member help out a flu in general to join the workshop? I don't think he knows how to use Discord. I'm gonna start my presentation while someone does that.
Yeah, sure.
Alright, did everyone join? Has everyone joined my stream? Looks like everyone joined the stream. Alright, so before we start the workshop, I just wanted to point out that JBoard and DBoard applications are due at the end of this week. The 25th is the last date you can turn in a JBoard DBoard application. We've actually received quite a few applications since the last meeting. Currently, the only uncontested positions, I believe we have one applicant for junior chair, 2 applicants for junior vice chair, 1 applicant for treasurer, 1 applicant for secretary. Actually, 1 person applied for all 3 of these, so they're only going to be able to get 1 of them. So actually, 1 of these is free if you want to apply for both of them. Intelligence director, we got 1 application for. Social media director is currently our most coveted position. We have 3 separate applicants for it. I don't know why, and the only thing they applied for is social media director. People really like Instagram, apparently. I have no idea why. No one has applied for outreach director or communications director. If you apply for this, you're basically guaranteed the spot. I'm just saying. Unless 2 people decide they want to apply for it, in which case, well, then we can, we'll work that out when we get to it. Long story short, yeah, this is the last week to apply for JBoard, DBoard applications, and next week we'll be announcing the results and doing interviews for contested positions. So that's the main announcement. I'll remind everyone again if you're at the side project meeting tomorrow night. And yeah, that's it from me. Now I will pass the mic over to Tony, who will be giving us a wonderful workshop.
Alright, cool. Thanks, James. Alright, so I'm just gonna share my screen. Also, James, or any of the e-board, I got the initial attendance, but if anybody wants to like keep track of
I'll keep dynamic attendance.
cool.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll be recording with the Discord on the side so I can see when people leave.
Alright.
Just in case you guys didn't know, we keep attendance based on how many minutes you're at the meeting for. So, just to let people know. I don't know if people knew that.
Alright, let me know if
No. We take it dynamically now because people thought it was. People weren't. I guess people didn't know how to use the bot effectively.
Yeah, you gotta update it to.
We're considering doing a new thing where the bot records when people leave the voice channel, but that's a future project.
Alright, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Is there lag or?
Don't know.
Alright.
No, it doesn't look like there's lag.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
I need to see something move.
Alright. How about now?
By the way, how many e-board members? Who's recording this?
I'm recording it.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure we have people.
That wasn't so bad.
Alright. I'm just curious, can anybody hear my computer right now?
Your keyboard?
No, like the fan.
It's not
A
bad.
little bit.
Alright.
But it's not.
Yeah, hopefully it won't be that annoying, but alright. So thank you everybody for coming to the workshop. I'm Tony, I'm gonna be hosting this. And so if you're not really in the loop about the workshop right now, it's going to be an Android development workshop, and we're going to be working on making an app that's going to be kind of like a family tree app. And so this is tentatively part 1, depending on how much we get done today. Ideally, I would like to kind of keep this around an hour because of the debate. Also, it might just be good to kind of keep it a little bit shorter, but so let's go on. So I'm just going to talk about the project a little bit. So like I said before, the concept is that somebody can use it to track their family tree. And so I want to be able to add members. I want to be able to delete members. I need to be able to keep info about those members. I want to be able to search for members in the family tree. Ideally, I'd like to include a view that somebody can use to actually look at the family tree. And then I would also like to have some cool animations. And so this is kind of like a personal project of mine. So I started this last week, and so I've been working on it a little bit. And so I didn't get to everything. The features that are darker are the ones that I implemented. And I just didn't have time to incorporate the others. But if there are other parts, then I could work on those, and then maybe we'll be able to work on those. All right, so we're pretty much just going to get right into it now. So if everybody could open up Android Studio. I need you to create a new project. So you're just going to click File, Open New, and then New Project. Or if you have the welcoming screen right here, you can just click on Create New Project. And if anybody has any questions or needs me to slow down along the way, just let me know, and I can try to go back and cover a step that you missed. But once you're at this stage, once you clicked on Create New Project, there are going to be some options here, but just click on Empty Activity, then click Next, and you can name your project whatever you'd like, but I'm going to name it IEEE family tree demo. And also just make sure that you're using Java and not Kotlin. And then for the minimum SDK, just use 21 for now. And then once you have that all set, just click finish. Am I going too fast for anybody, or anybody have any questions?
Just 1 second.
Yep.
Would you like to explain what the purpose of the minimum SDK requirement is to everybody?
Well, so basically what I'm using this as the minimum SDK, just because, well, that's what I used. So obviously I want to try to keep this as close to what I created as possible. But there's also some features in these APIs that aren't in the old ones. And so we want to make sure that we're kind of like at a decent level. So like for some of these features, like different functions or like different libraries or packages that Google makes for that like developers can use, you need a certain API or SDK. So like the older APIs, like API like 10, won't necessarily have these features. But yeah, that's mainly why. But and also if you go up too high on the API level, Android claims that you won't be able to hit as many devices. So if you see if you're on API 28, it's pretty new, but you're only going to be getting about 40% of devices. So if we stick at 21, it's not too bad, and we can get 94% of devices. But yeah.
Wow, they suck at getting updates.
This is very common with a lot of libraries, not just the Android, but OpenGL is very similar to this, actually. You want to try and target older versions, because older versions always are applicable to more devices, basically. So yeah, you'll see this in a lot of different API development projects, where you want to get a version that targets the maximum number of devices. And also just it's always good to appreciate the fact that Android names all of their versions after Candy.
Oh yeah.
It's very nice.
Not anymore though. I heard they stopped now.
Did they actually? That's very sad. I like that model.
Starting this one.
One of the newer
That's
ones
unfortunate.
is called R. Yeah, see, you have R and Q right here.
That is very sad.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing on getting the setup? Good?
I'm taking a lot of time.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it downloading or like installing something, like the SDK or something, or?
Oh, it just finished it actually. It opened right now.
Alright, so I just clicked finish, but if anybody has any questions, just let me know. Alright, and so I'm gonna go back to the presentation while that's loading. So we have to do some more setup. So what we're gonna do is we're going to make a virtual device, and we're also going to set up the SDK to make sure that we're all set with that. So if you can go back to your Android Studio, that'd be great. And then what I need you to do is I need you to click on Tools and then click on AVD Manager. And so what I'm going to need you to do is create a virtual device, and so this is going to take a little while too. So you're going to click on this button right here, Create Virtual Device, which is going to open up this window. Now just make sure you're under the phone category right here. And then when I was making this app, I used the Pixel 3a XL, so that's what I would just recommend using. So once you have that selected, click on Next, and the system image that I used when I was making the app was R, right here. So that's what I would recommend using. And then once you have that selected, go to next. And also, it might say download. So if it says download next to any of these, then you're gonna have to download and install it. And that usually takes a while too, but I think you might have to do that first. So I'll wait here for a little bit, but once you click on next, all you have to do is click on finish. But I'll wait here for a little bit. Is there anybody that has to download R?
Yeah, I gotta download it.
All right.
Yeah, download too.
All right, yeah, it's gonna take a little while, so I'll wait until around like 8:20 maybe.
Sorry, I missed the steps up to this point.
Sure. So I will. Did you create the project yet?
Yes, I did.
All right. So once you've created the project, you're gonna just be kind of like looking at a screen, kind of like this probably. So from here, you're gonna click on Tools, and then, so Tools is gonna be around the top maybe. If it's on.
I just don't have it popped up. I should probably recreate it. Because I don't have that many tools. Oh wait, now it's showing up.
Okay.
Oh wow, this computer's super slow.
Yeah.
What the hell? Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. Another option is I don't know if any of you can see this little button up here, but another option is to click on that, and then click on AVD Manager from there. But so you can just click on Tools, and then click on AVD Manager.
Yep.
And so you see the button Create Virtual Device.
Yeah.
Click on that. And then once you're there, you can select a device category. So just make sure you're on phone and not like Wear OS or something, because we don't want to make a watch app. And then you can select like a phone. So when I was making this, I used the Pixel 3a XL, so that's what I would recommend just doing, just so that it's like as close to mine as possible.
Yeah.
So highlight that, and then click next.
Mhm.
And then what you have to do is you have to select a system image. And so I used R, which is API level 30. It should be towards the top. And so you might have to download it. And if that's the case, then it's gonna take like a few minutes. But that's okay. So you have to download it before you can go further, pretty much. But and then once you do that, you will you'll be able to select it, and then you're pretty much good from there. But did you have to download it, or?
The phone's supposed to pop up, right?
Yeah, but did you have that system image already though, or did you have to download it first?
No, I already had it.
All right, awesome. So yeah, so once you click on R or have it highlighted, you just click next, and then it'll bring you to this page. Just make sure you're on portrait, and you don't have to worry about naming the the device. And then once you have that done, just click finish. Is anybody's device still being created, or?
Yeah, just give me a second.
Yeah, sure. All right, how's everybody's downloads going?
It's almost there. If
Okay.
anything, you could keep moving forward.
All right. Well, once you have that all set,
It looks like we have a lot of people with pretty slow computers,
Yeah.
so I think we should just move on, and because we're gonna be pausing anyway for people to catch up on some of this other stuff. So we should probably just move forward, and we'll be posting the video afterwards, of course, as well.
sounds good. All right. And the next thing I need you to do, it's also just more setup. So we're just gonna go under Tools. You're gonna go to SDK Manager. And you're gonna wait for this. So now you're gonna have all of these checkboxes, and these are different API levels. And so I would recommend selecting all that are from 21 to 30. And if you don't have those installed, I would install them. Or just keep the API level 30. I think if you're since we're already using API level 30, I think you should be fine. But if I don't think there are any legacy or like older packages that we're using. But if there are any issues, like if the compiler can't find a class or something, it could be because it's missing an older API. But so yeah, so we can get going now. And then one more thing we have to do first. So we're gonna open up this Gradle scripts right here, and then we're gonna click on build.gradle. And we want to make sure that you click on this one right here. You don't want to click on the project one. You actually want to click on the module one because they're a little different. And so once you're in here, I need you all to add a dependency. And so the dependency we're adding is right here on the PowerPoint in Google Slides. So I just need you to copy that down.
Does everyone know what Gradle actually is?
I have no idea.
Okay. That would be a relevant piece of information to tell people.
Well, I don't really know what it is myself, so.
Okay, I'll quickly tell everyone what Gradle is. So Gradle is like Maven. It's I believe I don't know the exact name of the tool type it is, but it's a
Package manager.
what's that, Robin?
It's a package manager.
It's a package manager. Is it? I mean, it's kind of a package manager as well. I'd like to think of it more as like an automated build system. Like you're combining like compilation and packages and everything into like one program. Like these programs, like these build management programs, like Maven, Gradle, CMake for C++. I mean, like it's an entire genre of programs that manage your packages and manage the building of your projects. So that's really what Gradle is. It's probably a lackluster explanation, but that's probably the best I can give right now.
If you look at the like npm, if you guys know Node and JavaScript, it's same concept, but you don't actually. You can actually download it from using terminal. So it's basically like a package manager and a package builder for Java. If anyone knows.
Okay, that makes sense.
Thank you.
It's like NPM. NPM has really broken up. Like again though, NPM it's like outgrown just being a package manager. Right now it's like it's more than a package manager. It builds your projects for you and stuff. Like it's really massive, and just like Gradle and Maven, honestly.
All right, so these two images right here are screenshots that I took, but this is what your dependency should look like, and then the highlight is the file it should go in. And I also copy and pasted the dependency and put it in workshop text. So if you're still not sure what to add, then just copy and paste that into there. But yep. Is there anybody who's still setting up their virtual device or downloading any SDKs or anything? All right, cool.
Yeah, still downloading.
Oh, you are still okay. How much longer do you have?
We got quite a few people. If you look at the workshop text, we also have Taha and Luna. Like also still downloading.
All right.
But this is to be expected.
Yes.
I would say don't worry so much about. You guys don't actually have to like follow along. I think if you at least, I think if you guys at least follow along with the code, like you don't actually have to type the code out. As long as you're looking at it and can understand it when he presents it, I think you're golden. And you can follow along with the recording at any time.
Yep. If you want, you can just like type the code in a different text editor, and then once you have it set up, you can copy and paste it or something. But we're also gonna have the video later. So we are gonna move on. And so the next thing we have to do, a little bit more. We're gonna have to go back into our project. And so there's going to be a folder. Right here called res. So I need you to open that. And then you're going to see another folder called drawable. And so basically what we're doing right now is we're going to make a bunch of icons that we have to use. And so you're going to open file. Make sure you've selected drawable. You're going to click File, New, and then click on Vector Asset. And so it doesn't really matter what icons you use right now, but if you want to keep yourself sane, I would make an add. So just click this plus, and then so once you have that, that's literally all you have to do is just click clip art and select that. Then just click next, and then just click finish. And so we're just gonna do the same thing. Just pick a few icons. So the next one I'm gonna do is a menu for a hamburger menu. And make another one. Find a back arrow. And then we need a search icon. And a settings icon. And then an info icon. And and actually one more. And then an icon for an overflow menu. And I'm just going to pick this hourglass. And it doesn't really matter which icons you choose. You only really need to pick one, but in like a real app, you'd obviously have a lot of different icons. So I think we made like 7 or 8, but you only need one. But all right. So moving on. So now we're actually going to get into some code. So you're going to see that we have a file up top here called activity-main.xml, and you can also see this if you click on the layout on the side menu right here and then click activity main. Actually, if you double click it, it'll bring you to this page. And so what we need to do is we need to add some code into it. So what I did to get here was I just clicked split. And so what this is showing is this is all of your XML code, and then on the right hand side is it being rendered in real time. And so we just need to add a few things. And so the first thing we're going to add is something called a coordinator layout. And so this is just going to be a container, so it's just going to hold some other UI elements, and it's going to make animations. It's going to coordinate animations. That's why it's called a coordinator layout. And so for the width, we want to say match parent, and so what that means is it's going to make the width as wide as the parent, and for the height, we want to also match parent. So what that means is that it's going to take up the whole screen. And then the other important thing that we need to do is we need to make an ID for this element. And so what you can do is if you start typing in ID, it'll Android Studio will pop up with a little menu, and you can just select ID, and you can just press enter and it'll fill it in. And then you have to type in the ID. And so what you should do is you should use this @+ID/. And so to start with that, you just have to press enter. And what's that?
Can you shrink the left of the file manager?
Yes.
Thing? It's pretty big.
Yeah. I guess so. All right. There we go. Is that better? All right.
Yeah.
All right. So now we need to give the ID a name, and so we're just gonna call it a coordinator layout. And so an ID is a unique identifier, and basically this is going to help us select or like pick our elements in the Java code. And so if you're familiar with any web development, like with HTML or JavaScript, this is basically the same thing as giving an HTML element an ID. And if you've ever used document.get element by ID or whatever it is in JavaScript, we're basically going to be doing something very similar. And all right, so inside of this, what we want to do is we want to make another element called a frame layout, and you can see Android Studio trying to finish it for me. So all you have to do is press enter. And so for this, we also want this to take up the whole screen. So we're gonna say match parent and match parent, and then we're going to close the tag by typing a slash. And we also, before we move on, we also want to give this an ID. So you can type in ID and Android will fill it in for you. And we want to call this one the host fragment. And so that might sound a little ambiguous to you right now, and that will be explained later or in a different part of this workshop. Alright, so now we need to add a few more things. We're going to add something called a bottom app bar, and you can see it is this first option that Android is suggesting. So I'm going to press enter, and for this we want the width to match the parent, so we want to take up the whole screen width-wise. In terms of height, we would just want to say wrap content. And so what wrap content will do is it's basically only going to take as much height as it needs in order to display the like anything inside, like any icons or anything inside of this element. And so we're gonna add a few more things. So we're gonna type in gravity, And so we want this layout gravity. So you can press enter when Android suggests it to you, and we want to put it towards the bottom of the screen. So that's what that's doing for us. And the next thing we want to do is we want to say we want to start typing navigation icon. And so it'll be this one. It'll be the second from the top. It'll be app navigation icon. And so basically what we're going to do is we're going to select one of those icons that we just made. And so what we're going to do is you have to type @ and so this is going to tell Android Studio to look inside that drawable folder where we made all these icons, and then you can select any icon that you made, but since this is going to be a navigation icon, I'm going to pick the menu icon that we made. And if you can notice, you can see the little icon. You can start seeing some things popping up at the bottom right here. So yeah, the cool thing about Android Studio is that it'll render in real time. And so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna add something, and this isn't going to make much sense right now, but we're gonna type in app menu equals app menu, and then app bar menu. And so it's going to give us an error right now, but that's okay. And then we're moving on. We're going to say app hide on scroll, and we're going to say true. And then it's going a little laggy right now. There we go. We're going to say fab animation mode. We're going to say slide. And we're going to say transition name. Actually, whoops, we don't need to do that. Alright, so once you have in slide, you are going to close the tag. So just type a slash. And actually, one last thing before we move on, we want to give this an ID as well. So just like above, you're going to start typing an ID, and you're going to call it a bottom app bar. Alright. And so the next thing we want to do is we want to make something called a floating action button.
Before we move on, has everyone gotten up to this point? And if not, I have multiple questions about what's just happened.
Okay.
So I noticed, well, first of all, just a quick observation. This seems very reminiscent. I've never seen coding in Android before. I did some very rudimentary stuff years ago in it. But this looks very reminiscent of like a weird combination of just like HTML, except like it's XML.
Yes.
And your some of the properties are like CSS properties almost. The Android namespace properties seem more like CSS style things, like where you specify where things go on the page. Just an observation. My other question though is I see the @ symbol used in a lot of these assignments. Is that like a special thing built into Android Studio? Like what's the purpose of @ and then like an identifier? Like @ plus ID, why do you have to do @ plus ID? Is that saying create a new ID or something? Like
So,
why can't we just say ID equals host fragment like you could in HTML?
So
What's the point of the @ plus ID slash? Because then you see at the same time you have to do like @ drawable, and that lets you access things in the drawable folder. Is the @ plus ID saying create something in like a magical ID folder that we don't know exists yet? Like that's almost the idea that I'm getting from the syntax.
Yes, so you're right. So there is a magical ID folder.
Oh my god, I predicted it.
It's somewhere, but
Probably has to be compiled first or something.
yeah. And so I believe so you can actually just say host. Oh no, never mind. Okay, never mind. But I think yeah. So it is gonna add it to a folder, and I believe when you say @ plus ID, it's actually giving that name like a unique number. So it's not really so like host fragment is going to be the human readable name, but it's actually going to make like a special number associated with that ID that isn't as easy to remember. So like, what's that?
I mean, yeah, that's security purposes and whatnot. I can imagine they would do that.
Yep. And then and then for your other question, so the this little @ symbol is basically so like I said, it's kind of like selecting this menu. So @ menu is a folder that we haven't made yet, but we're going to.
Right, so I almost feel like @ is saying, oh, look in the root project directory. It's almost like / or in the res directory.
Yeah. I've always associated it more with res.
Yeah. Okay. This makes sense.
Yep.
So @ is basically, to me, it just looks like @ is shorthand for this is in the res folder, basically.
Yeah. Or it could. I'm not sure if it's like with in the same.
It's like create it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Has everyone caught up? Does everyone understand like what this is and everything? Just want to make sure we're all on the same page. For anyone who's been following along anyway, like and actually coding it. I know a lot of people still haven't downloaded it yet.
Feel free to ask questions.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
All right. Yeah. I mean, this is definitely going to be broken up in more parts. Like we're 40 minutes into the workshop, and we're not even at the real Java code yet. So don't worry about slowing it down. All right.
Yeah, I'd say you can continue.
Sounds good. All right. So the next component we're gonna make is gonna be called a floating action button. And so this is pretty common in most apps. So you can just start to type in floating, and then one of the suggested elements will be the floating action button right here. So you can just press enter, and it'll fill in some code for you. So for this, we want to say we want to just wrap the content for both. Because this is just going to be a button, so we don't want it to take up the whole screen. And we're going to give this an ID as well. And so IDs are pretty important. So and for some of these things, if you don't have an ID, the app won't actually compile. And actually, so if you look at your rendering right here, I'll zoom in on mine. You can actually see the button starting to take shape. And so we're just going to call this the floating action button. All right, and then we're going to make some more things. So we want to say the source is an icon. And so what this is saying is like the icon on the actual button itself is what this is going to be. And so we want to select, it can be any icon, but since I have this add icon, I'm going to add the add icon. And so like before, it's kind of going into that drawable folder and then getting the proper icon. And then the next thing we want to do is we want to say there's this attribute called layout anchor. We want to use that. And so what this is doing is it's anchoring the floating action button to like some sort of element. But we want to anchor it down to the bottom app bar. And so to do that, we're gonna select the bottom app bar by its ID. And so we're gonna say @ID bottom app bar, if you can guess. And so you can see now that the button moved all the way down to the bottom right there. And so the next attribute is we're going to talk talk about the image size a little bit. And so we're just going to make this 35 dp. And so dp is just a type of units that Android uses. I'm not sure what it stands for, but so this is basically going to change the size of the icon on the button. So if you change it to 10, it's going to be really tiny, but we're going to keep it at 35. And the next thing we're going to do... Oh! I made mine 1035. It's a little big. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is... so this is optional, but what I did was I changed the tint of the icon to white. And so there's also a colors folder that you can define a lot of colors in, but I think white is just one of the kind of built-in sort of colors that's kind of like already defined, so you can just type that in, and I'm sure like red is another one. Nope, never mind. Black was the default, but I switched it to white. Alright, and then you can see right here on your icon it's white now. And so then, alright, so that we're all set here. So we're gonna close the element with a slash greater than sign. Yeah. And so we are we're almost good to go. So the next thing we want to do is we actually want to scroll to the top. And you can see we have a little bit of an error right here. So we're going to try to fix that. And alright, so I made a typo. So it's not actually fab alignment mode, it's fab animation mode. So make sure you switch that. Alright. And we want to... I think that's good for now. And so there are some other attributes for the bottom app bar that are pretty cool, that I'll show you in a second. But one last thing we want to add, actually maybe not one of the last things, but we're gonna add a style to the app bar right here. So we're gonna say @style, and you're going to select this option right here, material components .bottom app bar .colored, and you can press enter or you can double click it. And so that's going to kind of like make a little so it's gonna make it like kind of nice and purple like that. So if you don't, oops, if you remove it, it's gonna be white, and then when you add it, it just makes it purple. So, all right, so we're gonna run the app in just a moment, but we actually have to resolve one little error. So we have to resolve this this error right here. So it doesn't know what the menu folder is, and it doesn't know what app bar menu is. So basically what this is gonna do is it's going to kind of define some icons on the bottom app bar. And so what we're gonna do is we're going to click on the res folder up here. We're gonna click file. We're gonna make a new Android resource directory, because we want this to be in a new folder. So click on file, new Android resource directory, and then under resource type right here, we're going to select menu, and that's all you have to do, and it'll automatically rename the directory. And once you have that done, you can press OK. And so now we have this new directory. So make sure you have the directory highlighted. We're gonna click File, New, and we're gonna click on Menu Resource File this time. And we're going to name this App Bar Menu. and then just click OK. And so you can see we resolve the error right here. It's no longer red, it's green now. But we're gonna fill in the XML here for this little file. So this is the design page, or the design widget, or pane, or whatever you want to call it. So you can go right to code, or you can click split, but I like split. And so we're gonna add some things here. So the first thing we're gonna add, so we actually have to add an attribute to this little menu tag. And is everybody here so far? Or does anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
Sounds good. Fire away.
Did you record the logic before you started this entire thing, or how did you go about doing so? Doing this.
Like how did I make the project is what you're asking, or?
Yeah.
So so like over the past like 5 or 6 days, I've been working on this app. So I basically have my own version that's all done. I can actually show you what it's gonna look like. I'll do that by towards the end, for anybody that's interested. But so I'm literally just like kind of copying what I already did. So that's how I remember. I didn't memorize everything. That'd be really hard. But did that answer your question?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so up here in this little menu tag, so make sure you're in the tag. Make sure if you're outside of it, like right here, it's not gonna work. So make sure your cursor is inside the tag, like before the greater than sign. So what we're gonna type is in XML ns app equals https / actually, if you look here, I believe Android Studio gave us some options. So if you type in just ht, it's because I typed in https. So just type in http, and so it's going to give you some options, and you're going to click on res auto right here. Res auto. And so basically that's just giving us access to some attributes that we need to use. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a new item. And so what we want to type first is ID. It's always important to give your elements an ID. And we're going to call this the menu search. We're going to call it menu search. And we have to give it a title. And so we're just going to name it search. And then the next thing we have to do is we have to give it an icon. And so once again, we're going to go into that drawable folder. And now you can pick any icon, but I'm gonna pick my search icon. And one more thing, we're gonna say show as action. And we're gonna say if room. So you can see what that just did. So we're gonna close the tag. So just / greater than. So you can see what that just did. So if you look at it right now, you have the little search icon, and if we get rid of this if room, it's just gonna go right there. So make sure you include the if room. All right, and then the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make another item. We have to give this an ID, and we're gonna call this menu overflow. So the idea with this is that if there are any icons, like say you have 10 icons that you want to put in, you're going to put the important ones like the search like on the menu, and then the user is going to be able to click on this little overflow icon, and then it'll give them options for a few more. And we're going to add an icon. So once again, going in that drawable folder, and I'm going to do the hourglass for this one. And we're going to give it a title. We're going to call it settings. And then same as before, so if room, and then close it. And you can see it being rendered up there. Alright, and so now I'm gonna run my activity, and we're gonna see what we have so far. And it usually takes a little bit to on the first build. But while this is going, does anybody have any questions or need an explanation on anything?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So for the f equals tint
Uh-huh.
at the current page.
Yep.
Color Y.
Yep.
I actually don't see like at color directory, and mine gives error.
Oh really?
That,
Oh,
yeah.
interesting. So
it doesn't have mine.
So you don't need to have the attribute there because there's a default color. But if you look at mine, if you see my navigation menu on the left right here, I have a values folder under the res folder, and then I have a special file called colors.xml, and so this
I actually do have the same.
You have that?
Yeah.
Your
but
colors might
I
be
don't
different.
have-
Are they different?
Oh, yeah. I'm lacking a lot of stuff.
You're lacking a lot of things?
Yeah.
Oh.
Mine needs more like a color accent, color primary dark.
Oh, but you're also on an older version of Android Studio, right?
I'm not sure, because I think it just updated. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm on Android Studio, like the latest.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I just added only white.
Mm.
Yeah, I hope that helps.
Yeah. So what other errors are you having?
Me?
Yeah. You said you were missing a lot of things.
Missing every color, basically.
Okay. What else?
It doesn't run right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For the sake of time, we can work out the errors after the debate starts. But for the people who are leaving for the debate, let's just show them off the demo right now, and then we can talk errors afterwards.
Sounds good. So if you ran the project, this is probably what you'll get so far. So here's we just have a little bar at the bottom here, but this is gonna be kind of like a navigation menu of sorts. And if you click on the icons, you'll get a little ripple, but they won't do anything. And then right in the middle here, we just have a hello world, and that's default for every new blank project that you make on Android. But yeah, so that's just the initial layout. And yeah, so I'm gonna keep going. So this isn't like a lot for like a workshop, but if anybody wants to leave for the debate, you're more than welcome to, and we'll have a video posted later, so you don't feel like you'll be getting left behind. And also for the subsequent parts, we will post the starter code that you need for that part. So like even if you leave right now and don't get the rest of the code, say like for part 2, we'll have everything that we finished from today as part of that little starter package. So yeah, you don't have to worry about falling behind, and one way or another you'll get the code. So
and don't forget that we have our side project development night tomorrow. I have great plans for it. I'll be announcing a very cool project idea that I came up with. Maybe people want to help me on. I want to do a Google Docs, but a video editor. So you can have multiple people all editing the same video at the same time. It's going to be very cool.
That sounds fucking awesome.
Wait, what's it going to be?
I want to do, so you know how in Google Docs you can have multiple people writing on the same document at the same time?
Yeah.
I want to do that, but I want it to be a video editor. I want to be able to have multiple people editing a video at the same time. I don't think that exists yet. Actually, I do think it exists, but they charge money for it. I googled it earlier today, and I was very sad to find no free versions existed.
That sounds interesting.
It should be interesting. Yes, indeed.
And also,
why don't we go? So for the people who are staying, there's quite a few errors that have been brought up in general.
Okay.
Oh, everyone's dropping like flies.
Like flies.
So I think I'm most concerned about how you pronounce your name, Jun, Jun, Junwano. I assume that's my apologies if I've mispronounced that, but
Yeah,
that,
that's June.
thank you. That looks like the most brutal error message at the moment. Is the Android emulator hypervisor driver and for AMD processor installation failed. I have no idea what would have caused that. Tony, what's your diagnostic on that?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty serious, because
that's
that's like the hypervisor is what runs virtual machines, and that's like processor dependent, right? So I can understand why it would fail for a specific processor. Like, what's that?
There's a setting in to enable virtualization in Windows.
Oh.
What about in the BIOS? Can it not be in the BIOS?
Yeah, exactly. In the BIOS.
Oh boy. Well, but it says the installation failed, right? Not that it failed to start the virtualizer. I'm just not sure why it would have failed, like, the installation. I mean, it's entirely possible Windows would have been like, no, you can't do this if you don't have virtualization enabled. But I don't know. I kind of doubt it. I don't know. That's just my diagnostic on it. But that's a complete. Again, it's all guesswork. That's like currently the scariest error that I've seen so far today. As for how you would go about resolving that, I would say, yeah, I mean, try and make sure that you have virtualization enabled. If not, delete and try reinstalling again. Is always a safe bet.
Also, the Google Slides, could they be put up somewhere? Because, I mean...
They'll be on the GitHub tonight.
Alright, cool.
Well, depending on if Tony gets them up tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
I'll also... I think I'll just put a link in the workshop text too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm also gonna... I should have done this first, but I'm also gonna show like what the finished product looks like. In a moment. Alright. So that is so I just put the link for the slides in the in workshop text. So if you can't open it, just let me know. Alright. And so let me just show what the project looks like finished. And it's booting up real quick. And in the meantime, does anybody have any questions or anything? So I see Matthew, you have a bit of an issue.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not on the bottom. I follow them.
I'll show you my code again in a moment. And actually, I will, here, I'll display my code while I'm showing this.
Well, I'm assuming it's the what do you call it? The layout bottom app bar, right? It's that block of code.
Yeah.
Right?
So it should say, you want to say layout gravity bottom, right here.
Yes, I have it. That's why I'm so confused as to why it's not on the bottom. Yeah, let me show you.
Alright.
Gravity bottom.
Can you show the theme file?
Which file?
Also, the theme at the under the values.
Oh yeah. Strings? Yeah. So this is this one?
The under the one, the file theme.
Oh, themes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, because your theme isn't there, right? Probably.
I don't have theme, but I have styles.
So
Yeah,
if you look under themes, it's so this is a style resource, I believe, is what you would call it. So that's why if you select at style, it still knows where to look.
Yeah. Mine says I don't have like a material components dot bottom app bar that colored.
So that's that's another okay. So that's another dependency. So you need to go into build.gradle.
Build yeah.
And then you
the
see
module one, or which one? The project or
module.
Okay.
So you see how it says implementation com.google.android.material. So just type that in. Also, Matthew, I don't know if that would be an issue for you too.
I'll be quick with this one if possible.
Alright. So I'll just show what the final project looked like. So basically this is just a list of names, and then you can click on a name and it'll show some information. And there's going to be a little add relative button, and you can also edit the existing information right here. So I could type in maybe they should move down the street, so maybe now they're at 10 Elmwood Street, and so that'll update. So these buttons right here, I didn't really implement too much, but there's a little menu here. This is just like a little button. When you click on search, it'll pop up the search menu, and then you can type in a name. So I could say Cecilia, and it would show their name. And then you can also add. So that's what we're going to use the bottom app or the floating action button for. We're actually just going to add a name, but yeah, so that's pretty much it. Let me get back to these errors.
So what? I don't know if we covered this. So what program language is this technically?
So, well, this is like we've only been doing XML, but we're gonna be
real programming thing tonight.
What?
It's all markup language.
Yeah. We will be using Java. Don't worry. But for Android development, you can also use Kotlin, which is like a modern language. You can kind of think of it like in iOS development, you use Swift. So I guess like Kotlin is kind of like the Swift analog or the Android analog for Swift, and then for iOS you could use Objective-C, which is an older language, and for for Android you could use Java. So both Android development and iOS development kind of have like an older language and then a more modern language that you could use. But I'm just using Java because that's what I know, and also our school teaches Java, so it just made sense. Alright, so looking at your error there, Matthew, that I'm not super sure about, but let's see what else could be doing it. So is your little app bar purple, or is it still white?
Let me see. So what am I checking for?
You see how mine's purple?
What am I looking at?
Or can you see my Android Studio?
Yeah, okay, I see it. Okay, you're talking about the bar itself?
Yeah, so can you see the yeah, okay, you should be able to see it. Yeah, so you see how the bar itself is purple?
Yeah, mine's white.
Okay, so that's an issue. Alright, so you need to add one more thing. To make it purple. So you see how I have this little style attribute right here?
Yeah, I don't have that. Let me add that.
Yeah, add that real quick.
Interesting.
Okay, take a look at what I just did.
Oh. Oh, okay. Alright, so, okay. Alright, so... Okay, so you need to... Okay, I found your issue. So, for layout height, you need to say wrap content.
Wait, I did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. Alright, cool. Alright, so before we move on, I want to show you some more cool things about the bottom app bar. So I think it's like a really fun component. But if you go back to activity main.xml, so there are some fun things you can do with it. So right now we have the alignment mode. Actually, we don't even have the alignment mode. So let's type in alignment mode. So we're gonna make a new attribute for the bottom app bar. Isn't everybody ready to move on, or any questions?
Oh, I have a question.
Oh yeah, sure.
Can I see the app bar menu?
Yes.
What do you mean by move on exactly? Because the workshop's kind of over. We lost the people.
Well, I mean, that's okay. I mean...
Actually moving on anyway. Like, we're just going ahead. Okay.
I'm chilling, dude. I'm down to learn.
Alright.
My app is
Before
keep
that,
dropping.
quick question.
Uh-huh.
If we wanted to add our own images, would that be in the mip-map folder? Like, say we wanted to add, like, a custom JPEG or something. Like, where do we put that? Like, what resource folder does that go in?
Yes, so I believe that is the mip map, and I actually tried doing that for the project. I was gonna try to add profile pictures for all these, for every member in the family tree, but I didn't really get to that. But yes, those do go in the mip map folder. So what you have to do, you can just say... So there are already some images in here, but what you would want to do is you'd want to make... you'd probably want to make another directory. It's called a sample data directory. And then you would want to make an image asset. And you can... So you see this little path? So you can just pick an image that you have on your computer. And then you can configure, like, if you want to make it... Oops. If you want to make it bigger, you can. If you want to make it smaller, you have that option. But yes, so that is how you would add a image from your computer.
Wow.
Yes. And Robin, you had do you have everything from this
Yeah, I actually have everything, but when I turn on the app using the emulator, it says app stopped running, and then there's an error. So
can you show me what error it was?
there is no error. So like it runs successful, it compiles successful actually, but the thing is, it's not running on the app, in the emulator.
So you didn't get any error message?
I did not. It just said it stopped running.
Yeah, so I know about that, like, it'll say, like, app stopped running or something, but, if there... What you could try to do is you could click the debug button right up here, and then that'll run it, and, so if you... So you'd run it in debug mode.
What's the debug mode?
It's this little... Well, at least on mine, it's this little bug. It's a green bug up top here.
Oh shit, that's a debug?
Yes. So you can run it in debug. And
So-
then
Uh-huh. Interesting. Java link unsupported operation exception.
hmm,
It's a Java problem. Maybe
it's weird.
yeah, fatal exception. Main Java link runtime sessions. Yeah. It's looking bad. I'm not doing it anymore.
Okay. So
It's
you can pick. There's somewhere where you can pick your Java version. Mine is on Java 1.8. I don't know if yours is different, but
let me check the preference. Version control. Wait.
Matthew, I would if you want, you can just get rid of that animation mode. It's really not important, but
Is it? Do I have to like import something? Is that why it's giving you there?
What's the full error?
Easy.
Okay, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. But that is the whole thing.
Oh my.
Yeah, come on, great.
All right. Can you see my Android Studio?
Yes.
If you go all the way to the top of your activity main.xml, do you have both XMLNS tools and XMLNS app?
Yes.
And do you have this one right here, XMLNS Android?
Yes.
Okay. What if you what if you just get rid of that attribute and try building it?
I'm gonna try that right now.
Oh my.
All right, and so in the meantime, I'm just gonna show some like other cool things about the bottom app bar. So there's another attribute called well. Oh wait, 1 second. Was that? I know why. Oh wait, no, I don't know why. Show me your code.
Hey Tony, I gotta leave because it's the morning time right now.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you did pretty good.
Well, thank you.
This is a good workshop, and still is. Since apparently we're still going. By the way, who got recordings?
I'm recording.
Okay, good, because mine kind of got scuffed. I accidentally switched to another server in the middle of the recording, and there were some pictures that cannot be included in the recording. It would be very illegal.
That's okay. So, yeah, put in a screenshot when you get a chance. But, so there's going to be another little attribute called fab alignment mode, and so we're gonna say, so this is cool because it's gonna move the floating action button to different parts on the bottom app bar. So by default, it's in the center. But we could put it at the start. Oh, no, wait. Maybe there's not one that puts it at the beginning. I thought there was, but maybe end and center are the only options. But yeah, so that's kind of a fun one. So just keep it on center for now. There's another attribute called fab cradle margin. And so what that's going to do is it's going to increase this little that little cradle. It's going to increase the size. So you can make it big or you can make it small. But yeah, so that's kind of a fun one. And
so deleting it did work, by the way.
What's that?
Deleting it.
Oh, that's good.
The build was successful if I deleted it.
That's
the
good.
fab animation.
That's crazy.
I wonder why though.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me know if any of these other attributes work because they're.
I'm gonna try it right now.
All right.
Wait, what is fab short for?
Floating action button.
Ah,
Yes.
clever.
Yes.
So that's like your big center button. Yeah, okay,
Yes.
this makes sense.
All right. And so there's another one here called the fab cradle rounded corner radius, and so this is going to increase the size of these little corners right here, so we can make it really big, like 50. So I don't know if you noticed that, but it's the radius right here is what it's increasing. And one wait, one more.
So yeah, the other fabs work too.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Alright, and so our last one here is the vertical offset. So this is saying like how far above the bottom app bar you want it to be. So it could be really high, like 60, and so basically that's gonna get rid of like the cradle, and it's gonna put the button like up top there, or you can make it 10. You can make it 0. And you can make it go down. I don't know if you can use negative numbers, but let's see. Nope. Okay. But yeah, that's another fun one. So let's just for kicks and giggles, let's make it 20. All right. So yeah, there's a lot of fun customization you can use with the little thingy there. Okay. So we are going to move on for a little bit. We're going to. I think we already did that. Fragment bottom sheet. All right, so we're gonna keep configuring the bottom app bar, and so we're gonna make a new file. And so this is gonna go inside, just inside a layout. So let me just close all these folders. So inside a layout, we're gonna make a new file, a new layout resource file. And we're gonna call it bottom nav drawer menu. And you're just gonna press OK. And so you're gonna open up that file wherever, right here. Go into split. And so we only have one thing that we need to add, and it's very simple. You're gonna add in something called a navigation view. So it'll be this first option. And so we're gonna make the width match the parent. The height is gonna wrap content. We're gonna give it an ID. We're gonna call it the navigation view, and we're gonna give it a gravity. Whoops, what the heck? Where is it? that's weird. So we're gonna give it a gravity of bottom. We're going to give it, we're gonna just play with the margins a little bit now. So we're gonna select margin start, and we're gonna say 8 dp. And for the next, we're gonna say margin top. And we're gonna give that 8 dp. And lastly, we're gonna say margin end, and we're gonna give that 8 dp. And alright, so we also just have to constrain this a little bit. And so what constraining is doing is it's saying basically it's basically making a responsive user interface that will generalize to a lot of different screen sizes, and it's kind of better than just saying like saying like the vertical offset of this element is like 100. It's gonna like kind of connect it to some elements. But so what we're gonna type layout constraint end to end of, and we're gonna say parent. So parent is going to be just this constraint layout that it's in, and we're gonna say layout constraint. Whoops. We're gonna say layout constraint start to start of parent, and another one, layout constraint top to top of parent. And then lastly, we just need to say menu. We're gonna say at menu bottom nav drawer menu, and we're gonna close the tag. And so this is also something that we need to make now. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna make it, yeah. Alright. So in the menu folder that we have from before, we're going to make a new menu resource file. And we're gonna call this bottom nav drawer menu. And we're gonna go to code, or split actually. And so we only have to add a few things here. So we're gonna use a new.
Go back. What'd you do there?
Oh, all right. So I clicked on menu, and then I said file new, menu resource file, and then you type in bottom nav drawer menu, and then you click OK. All right. And so you just open that and then go to the code by clicking split. And so we're gonna add a new tag that we haven't used yet. And so it's called a group, and we're gonna give it something called a checkable behavior, and we're gonna set it to none. And so once you have that typed in, just type the greater than sign, and then it'll automatically close the tag for you. And we need to make a new tag, so a new item tag. We're gonna give it an ID, and we're gonna call this the nav about. And we're gonna give this an icon. And so like before, we're gonna go into the drawable folder, and you can give this, you can make it any icon, but I'm gonna give it the info icon. And we're gonna have to give this a title, and we're gonna call it about. Whoopsie daisies, about. And then you can close it, and we're gonna make a new item tag. We're gonna give it an ID. We're gonna call it nav settings, all lowercase. We're gonna give it an icon. We're gonna say the settings icon. And we're going to give it a title of settings. And we're gonna close the tag. So that's all done. And so that'll resolve the error. I just realized I made two things called that. Huh. That was not intentional. One second.
You can remember these names. Layout, constrain, end, to, end of. It's so long.
Yeah. Alright, so we're actually gonna rename this file. So in layout, whoops. So in layout, in the layout folder, there should be a file called bottom nav drawer menu. We're gonna click refactor and then rename. And you're gonna type in fragment underscore bottom sheet. Fragment bottom sheet. And then press refactor, and it'll rename it. Alright, so at this point, we basically, so we have all these layouts, and we kind of need to put it together. And what we're gonna do is code in Java finally, yay! Alright, so what we have to do, does anybody have any questions so far?
So far, so good.
Alright. So we're gonna go. So what we need to do is we need to make a reference.
Hold up. Before you start, that ... that's like, if you click that, that'll expand into a ton of imports, right? That's not like an actual Java syntax, right? Okay, just wanted to make sure that wasn't... Yeah, I do import ... wasn't real Java syntax.
Yeah.
Had to make sure.
Yeah. Alright. So, we're going to make a reference. We're going to make this private. So we're going to make a bottom app bar reference. And just call it bottom... You can call it whatever, but just call it bottom app bar. And so it's coming up as red because we haven't imported it yet. And so, if you're on Mac... to automatically import it, you can press Option Return. On Windows, I'm sure there's something you can do, but I don't know what it is. And we're gonna make.
It automatically imported it.
What's that?
I think it like automatically imported it when I typed it in.
Oh, interesting. So we're gonna make another reference to the floating action button. Oh yeah, I just did it. All right. And all right, so we've done that. So the next thing we need to do is we need to make a whatchamacallit, an inner class. So we're getting a little advanced Java. Let me find the code real quick. All right. So what we need to do, this could be so just write a new public static class. Bottom navigation drawer fragment, and it has to extend a bottom sheet dialog fragment. And so this is basically going to represent that XML file we just renamed, called the fragment bottom sheet. And so question?
So I'm relatively new. So what does it mean by extend? I don't know if you just explained that.
So I didn't explain it. So yeah, so this is kind of so Java is an object-oriented language. So which Java class are you, or what year are you in?
I'm a freshman. I know objects, but I've never seen extend.
Remember when I linked you that video about inheritance? This is just inheritance.
Oh, okay. Now I understand.
Yeah. So okay. So basically, when you say extend, you're saying that you wanna get all the functions and you wanna get all the functions from a class that like somebody already wrote. So like you could have a person you could have like an automobile class, let's say, that would have functions like drive or something, and then you could have like a Honda Civic class that extends the car or the vehicle, whatever I just said. So that means the Honda Civic can also drive. So yeah, that was like kind of an okay explanation, but
is a relationship.
So
bottom navigation draw fragment is a bottom sheet dialog fragment.
Okay, so bottom navigation's inheriting
yes,
from bottom sheet dialog?
yeah,
Exactly.
Okay.
yep. Kind of like how you inherit a fortune.
Yeah, I wish to.
So what we're gonna type is this. We're gonna say public view on create view, and so we're gonna import view, and we're gonna type in the parameters parameters. We're gonna say layout inflater view group container, and then bundle saved instance state. And so a lot of this isn't going to make sense, especially to people who are new. Like whether you're new to Android programming or whether you're new to like object-oriented programming, a lot of this really isn't going to make sense. And that's okay. I would recommend just taking it as it is. And so what you're going to want to say next is you're going to say view equals inflater dot inflate r dot layout. So this what I'm doing with r dot layout is basically I'm selecting that res folder, and then I'm selecting the layout folder. And now what I have to do next is I have to pick a layout. So I'll explain what this is doing in a second, but just to follow along if you can for right now. So what you have to say is you have to say r.layout.fragment bottom sheet. Then you have to type container, and then what you have to type is false. And we have a few more things we have to do. We have to say navigation view equals view dot find view by ID. And so this is what I was saying, like how this is what I was talking about when I was trying to compare this to JavaScript and HTML. And so navigation view we have to import. So if you click on it, you can just press option return if you're on a Mac. And so I'm gonna try to explain this in a second, but just try to follow along. So now we're gonna type navigation view dot set navigation item selected listener. So it's this first option. So you can just press enter or return, and it's not gonna auto generate. So what we have to do, we have to say new navigation view dot on navigation item selected listener, and then we just have to add in some curly braces. And so it's highlighted red, or it's underlined red, because we have to implement a function.
I think you're missing parentheses too.
So that's actually just a semicolon. Oh nope, I'm wrong. Oh, okay. It's because it has to it's a missing return statement. And we'll do that in a second. But for now, just hover over the red underline and click implement methods and click OK. And
nice IDE feature.
yes.
type this all out when I did this.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
So what we're gonna type is we're gonna make a switch statement, and we're gonna switch it on the what's getting passed in as the argument right here. So you're just gonna say item.get item ID, and basically we're gonna say if it's the nav. That's awkward. Well, if it's nav settings, we're gonna say we're actually gonna do something called making a toast. So this is kind of like doesn't really like do much, but it's kind of good for like making sure that something works. So you'll see what this is in a second, but you're gonna say context settings and then toast dot length underscore short, and you're gonna say dot show, and it doesn't like context. Alright, so it's actually not supposed to like context, so just forget I said that and just type break, and then you're gonna say r.id.nav about, and just say break. And right here, so actually instead of break, you're gonna say return true. And for the default case, we're gonna say return false. And then right here, right after this curly brace parentheses semicolon, you're gonna say return view. Okay, so that was kind of a lot. And so this is red just because I forgot to make an ID for one of these things. So this isn't like a super important feature. So you can just say, just put it at nav about.
Oh, it wasn't even red for me.
Oh, really? Well, I must have just forgot to do something. But yeah, so we're not going to really implement any functionality through this, like for the entire like scope of the project. But basically what this is saying is, so a fragment is, so this is,
Let's start at the top. What's a view?
So a view is actually just it's pretty much just like any component that you use in an app. So like a button.
It's like the equivalent of a div in HTML.
I guess kind of. It's just kind of like a base class that provides some functionality, and that
Right.
that most
Something
things
that you
inherit
view.
from. Yeah.
Okay. So what's this inflator then?
So
the layout inflator.
So
what does that do exactly? Because at the moment, that's like the most complex thing. Is I see the bundle, I see the view group. I can kind of infer what a view group is since I know what a view is, but I'm slightly confused about the bundle and the layout inflator.
So I'm gonna say don't really worry about the container or don't worry about the view group or the bundle. But so basically the inflator, what the inflator is saying is it's saying get this layout that we just made, and then like basically like blow it up and put it into this container, and then return and then return the view that the container is in. That's how.
It's kind of complicated, but it makes sense. Like that's seems like there could be a better way to do that.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, not for you, but like behind the scenes, I don't know why they chose to do it like this. I guess it just made sense to them.
Well, yeah, and so we're saying view.findView by ID.
So that would make sense. That's like the HTML get, right?
Yeah.
Like the get element by ID. That makes sense to me. I understand
So the reason this works though, so if you go inside of the file where that navigation, like where that ID is, let me find it. Oh, it's this one. So we have this ID here called navigation view. So all right. So I'm gonna try to explain what's happening. So we have this layout that we made, and then we have the main activity. So the inflate is saying, okay, put this activity or put this layout inside of this container. And so the container is basically is kind of like, it's gonna pop up in like this layout, kind of, and then it's returning this view. And so the reason we can say the reason we can find it by ID is because it's returning this layout. So if you want to think about it, it's kind of returning this pretty much. This is what we're making.
The constraint layout, or
see, I yes. And then the container that the view or the layout is going in is this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm gonna move on, but does everybody have that typed in?
It says I'm missing a return, but it looks identical to yours, so I'm thinking it's a bracket problem.
Is it inside the on navigation item selected, or is it for the on view create?
Yeah, sure.
It's interesting indeed.
Yeah.
It does look the same.
Yeah.
What's the exact error? Missing return statement?
Yeah, it's just missing a return statement. But I looked at Tony's code; it looks exactly the same.
Okay. Well then, it's time to.
Yeah, let me show you where it puts the return statement because it gives me an option. It's the return false that they put in underneath the other one, but not under the default.
I would just do that. I would, maybe you're like running on a different version of Java, because
yeah.
I think
That's weird though, man. Cause this is. Wait a second. Hold the phone. Let me take a look at yours. No, it's because he has the extra return. He has the break in there, so he could break before he returns. You took that out a while ago because it was, you said you didn't have the nav settings. And if it breaks, then it doesn't return true or false. It skips the default. It skips the entire switch statement, and then it gets to the end without a return. So yeah, this it actually makes sense why there's not. Yeah, it's not identical.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the break statement?
Yeah.
Yeah, the break says to skip the all the other cases and the default and basically just leave the switch statement entirely. So if it hits that case and it hits the break, then it jumps to the end of the switch, and then there has to be a return at the end. Otherwise, it's not returning anything. So yeah, it makes sense what they're saying.
Okay, I can see that. I didn't even notice the break was gone from it.
Yeah, it took me a hot second to see that as well.
Yeah. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the bottom app bar and the floating action button. And so in the onCreate method in the main activity, what you want to type is this. You want to say bottom app bar equals find view by ID r.id bottom app bar, or whatever ID you gave the bottom app bar. And then now we're gonna put on some click listeners. So this could be also pretty new to some people. But basically what this is saying, so just follow along with me. So if you type it partly, Android Studio will try to finish it for you, but you can enter return. Then we're gonna say new view dot on click listener. And we're gonna hover over the red and click implement methods, and it'll want you to implement an onClick method, and just click OK. So just follow along with what I'm typing. And so basically what a listener is doing is it's kind of associating something with the bottom app bar that's gonna always be paying attention or listening for a click event. So like when the user taps on it, and then once it notices that the user taps on the bottom app bar, it's going to do something. So that's what we're trying to do. And we just have a little bit more. Let me try to figure out why that's. Oh, it's because I typed this wrong. Alright, so this right here is actually going to be the bottom sheet dialog fragment. Alright, so make sure right here that it says bottom sheet dialog fragment. Make sure right here it says bottom sheet dialog fragment, and make sure right here it says bottom sheet dialog fragment. So what we're saying is when the user clicks on the navigation button on the bottom app bar, we want to make this we want to make a like this little menu that we just made pop up, and so you'll see what I mean in a second. And then to finish off the bottom app bar, we're going to implement another listener. We're going to say set on menu item click listener new toolbar dot on menu item click listener. And so Android Studio will kindly fill in the code for us. So what we want to say is we're going to say context equals get application context, and then we're going to do another switch on item.get item ID. We're going to say case r.id.menu search. So basically we're saying when the user clicks on the search icon, we're going to do something. So for this we're going to make a toast. And if you don't know what a toast is, you'll see in a little bit. So what we're saying is, so the context, so I'm pretty new to Android development myself, but basically the context, the way I understand it, is kind of like the like almost like not really the container of the main activity, but like yeah, I mean, I guess I don't really know like a good way to explain it, but it's like it's like something associated with this activity, and so each activity you make is gonna have its own context, to my understanding.
Is it similar to the idea of a rendering context? Because I know there's you hear context come up a ton in anything where like you're managing like a. Yeah, I struggle to explain it as well. I just know OpenGL, you have to create a context before you draw to anything. And JavaScript's API for drawing also requires you to set the get the canvas context for you to manage the canvas to draw on. I imagine it's something in the same vein of that.
Yeah, it could be. I'm also not like super familiar with like stuff like that either, like renderings, like OpenGL or stuff like that. Then
I imagine the context just is an abstract object that represents an area that you have ownership over. That's what I'm going to take my guess. I'll pin my guess on that.
Yeah. So what the rest is doing though is, so when you click on one of these icons, it's gonna make a little pop up basically, and it's gonna say the pop up is gonna say search, and then this is how long you want it to appear for. And then show is just saying like, okay, like actually like make it pop up. All right, and then we have we're just gonna set up the floating action button real quick. So we're basically gonna do the same thing. We're gonna say find the view by ID. So r.id.floating action button, and then we're gonna set another on-click listener. Whoops. Set on-click listener. New view dot on click listener. And we're gonna hover over the red, click implement methods, and so for this we're gonna just copy and paste one of these toasts, and make sure you copy and paste the context portion as well. All right, so we're just gonna copy and paste this into here, and we are set with those two things. So now at this point we can run it and then see what it looks like. And feel free to ask any questions now.
What is a toast? Did I miss that explanation?
So if you don't know about Android, you won't know what it is, but you'll see what it is. Oh, and I just got an error. Nav settings is incompatible with attribute ID. Oh, that's why. Nope. It's like a baby pop-up. You'll see. I don't know why they call it toast, to be honest.
It's originally a concept like the toaster pops up like
that
concept.
That's clever. That's funny.
All right, so this is what we have so far. So we have the floating action button, and then we have some stuff here. So if you click on the menu icon, it's gonna pop up this little thing. And if you click the search icon, it'll make this little pop-up. So that's the toast. And same with this.
It's really like toast. It like pops up from the bottom of the screen.
Yes.
Now I can't stop thinking about that. That's such a cute idea.
It's all intentional.
And if you click the floating action button, it's supposed to be making a toast. but
Rip toast.
Indeed. At least the search icon, the search button works. So yeah, that is what we have.
I gotta say though, from my observation, Android app development is brutal. There's like that code is not intuitive the first time you see it, man. That's like what is your recommendation in terms of like tutorials for this kind of stuff? Like, do you have any? I think David was nice enough to link us the Udemy tutorial down in general for Android app development. But what was your process in learning all of this?
What was my process? And yeah, so I mean I wholeheartedly agree, honestly, and like we are like way behind what I thought we were gonna get to. But yeah, Android has like a lot of like I don't know if you would call it like boilerplate, but there is like
terrifying seeing kind of like if you go to your code file, it's just like everything's a new class. They're anti-default classes, and they use things in ways that I would have never even imagined, like inflate, like that's interesting. I'll give them that. It's not my first. It wouldn't be my first choice of a way to do a layout engine, but it's creative.
Yeah, I think like it's definitely not like very accessible to newcomers, but I think the best thing to do is just like even if you don't understand it, just like try to do it anyway. Obviously, like if you don't really understand it, it's gonna make debugging a lot harder. But in terms of like
I think that it's just like, I mean, you can kind of interpret it, right? Like inflator.inflate, you're inflating the layout.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fit the container, and you're not attaching to the root. Like it's not that bad if you as long as you can conceptualize it as like an abstract object.
Yeah.
Then it's like okay. And I mean, if you have a bit of experience with layouts in Java and some of like the default Java layout engines, it starts to seem a bit more acceptable. It's just the new, all of the new classes flying around can kind of be overwhelming the first time you see it, I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree. So in terms of how I went about learning how to do this, so I really didn't have much experience. So over the summer, I was a part of a research group, and I still am, but what I'm doing, or like one thing I helped with was like making an app, and that helped a little bit, but what really helped was until I made this project, like I still didn't really have like a good grasp on a lot of like the components of Android programming. So what honestly would just help me was just like honestly just googling and YouTube, and like it helped to have like an idea of what I wanted to do. So like you could look up something as simple as like how to like I don't know, how to make a navigation bar, or how to make a button that switches between activities, or a button that switches between fragments, which is something that we would get into in like a later part. Yeah, I don't really I mean to be honest, like I don't really have any like special advice. Like I pretty much
taking the real project-oriented approach, the self-motivated. I want to do this, even though I don't know how to do it. I will Google it until I find out how to do it approach.
Yeah.
Which is honestly how I learned half of the stuff that I know as well. But yeah, I understand that. I understand that sentiment.
Yeah, it also helped to have a deadline, and like I can show like some of the like the final code, but like I don't think any of these none of these files are like more than 300 lines, I think. But so there's this one file called person adapter, which is probably the most complex. but it has like a lot of stuff.
Wow.
I don't know. But yeah, so
That's good code.
This one isn't even like more than 300. This is like 100. So they're all like relatively short. But yeah, it helped to have a deadline, and like I said before, I did this in like pretty much about 6 days. I think like if I didn't have a deadline, because obviously I had to have this done by today. If I didn't really have a deadline, it wouldn't like I don't think I would have like been as disciplined. But so like here's another file, like this is kind of like a simpler one. So this is just like representing a person in the like in the app, or like in the family tree. There is like one little complexity to it. It's there's this thing called a parcel, but that's basically kind of like encapsulating the object so that it's easier to communicate or like pass through between activities and fragments, and that might not really mean much.
I have a general idea. I've seen similar problems arise in Java applications before.
Yeah.
The way that I used to deal with that was to oh my god, I don't even want to go into how I used to deal with that. You'd cast it to an object, and then you'd pass there's a class called class, which you can represent object types with, and you can create like an abstract. Yeah, I imagine that's how parcel is actually implemented. Oh my god, back in the day when I used to main Java, that was like one of the biggest issues, was trying to pass around objects easily between things.
Yeah. And
there was been
I'd say the most annoying or complex thing about this was that so like, and it goes back to this person adapter, which is what I said was like the most complex. So there's an inner, so you have to make an inner class called a view holder right here. And so a view holder represents like an actual row in the list of names, pretty much. And so it's an inner class, and so in order to propagate a message up to person adapter, I don't know if there's like an easier way to do this, but I pretty much had to oh boy, what did I have to do? Let me try to find it. Maybe I might not be able to. I don't know if I can find it, but I had to, like, I basically had to send a message through like three other classes just to get to the parent, which I found was like really stupid.
Java hell.
Yeah.
All over again.
Like, it doesn't make sense why I can't just like propagate it up, but
yeah.
I'm sure there's like, if I just passed in like a reference to to it.
I mean, it's static, right?
What is this? The inner class.
Inner class.
Yeah. So wait, what's your point?
Can you like make it observable from the person adapter?
No, because I need to observe the person adapter from the view holder.
Oh god. Oh no. Yeah, okay, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah, so I kind of remember, I think I remember now what it was. So like, so if something, like if one of the rows changes, like if one of the people changes that's in a row, you obviously like have to update like the actual data set where all the, like where you're storing like all these people. And so I have that up here in the person adapter, and so that's what I need to get to. And to get to that, like, I had to go through like 3 other classes, I'm pretty sure.
So,
Oh my.
couldn't you just make like an object, like the inner class as a separate class and call it the object, and then pass the values inside it, and then handle those?
So I probably could have, and I can't remember if at the time, like, if I was just like dumb and didn't think of that, or if there's like an actual reason that I didn't do that.
Are you forced to implement the inner class through the extension or whatever? Or the implement? I forget if implements. Back when I was maining Java, like, they just made it so implements could like force you to do even more than it originally had with interfaces. Like, interfaces were becoming more and more powerful back in like 2016. I feel like I remember you used to be able to, in interfaces, explicitly say that an inner class had to be implemented. I don't know if that's actually a thing though. Could just be making all of this up.
So I don't think you have to, like, define this in here, but that was just like how the tutorial or whatever was doing it, so I just followed along.
I feel makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look through this a little bit more to give you a better answer, but like.
So, are you planning on having us implement all of this?
That I would have liked. I would have liked to. I would have liked to. But obviously, this is gonna take a while.
That's a lot to type.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this, like, I didn't realize the scope of this would be like pretty big.
This is a pretty large project, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we haven't even walked most of the people. We've only walked like our three lonely soldiers through the code so far.
Yeah, I mean, this will, like, yeah, I don't know. It'll be on GitHub though, so at least people can look at it.
Yeah, I just can't imagine people are gonna see the code, like the 1 or 2 lines, and be like, oh my god, what is a view group? What is a layout inflating? Like, that really, I feel like the explanation really worked wonders with those. I would, like, if I saw that code, like, if I was starting a tutorial and that's like the first line I saw, I would have been like, nah, I'm out of here. This is not. It's probably why I didn't ever actually get far into Android app development, was I was just so turned off by all the XML and the long names. In fact, I'm still turned off by the XML and long names.
The thing is, now you don't have to use XML.
What else can you use now?
Dart.
Oh, Dart.
It's actually like exact copy of like a Java. The syntax, everything, like it's almost same as Java.
Really?
But it's more like a developing iOS. You don't need HTML or CSS. The components are actually pretty straightforward, and Google is actually pushing those things to develop Android or iOS.
Wow.
And the Kotlin is also a copy of Java. I don't know why they made 2 languages just for Android developing, but still.
Well, I hear Kotlin is easy because it's quite literally just a JVM language. So it's you can basically, I think you can use any JVM language, honestly.
It's
I think Kotlin is just the number 1 supported other one.
Well, it's a lot less verbose. So it's a lot less to type. There's also, you can actually convert any Java file to Kotlin in Android Studio, which is kind of cool.
That's clever. Yeah. That's really clever.
I don't know if it'll go backwards, but.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind.
What were you saying, Robin?
I just said like Android Studio is way too heavy.
It is heavy, man. It's real heavy.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of the biggest IDE you could ever get.
Well, I think it's interesting how they've really compartmentalized Android app development into like this rigid structure. I think it's kind of cool in a way, but at the same time, I've always been more of a fan of like programming in whatever IDE I want. Like that's one of the main reasons I hate like Qt and stuff, because it's like you have to use their IDE. You're basically screwing yourself over. Like Android feels like very much the same way. Like, yes, they've released like the Android native software development kits now, so you can like program Android apps in C++. But everyone knows that's too complicated to do unless you're a multi-million-dollar corporation. So it's like you really kind of just slotted into being able to use Android Studio, which I mean, it's not a terrible thing, but like I like to have that versatility. But I guess it's good in terms of like tutorials and stuff. They can all focus on one thing. One platform.
Yeah, I don't really like Android development too. I've done it when Android Studio didn't exist, like 6-7 years ago, I think. And like
where Android Studio existed.
Oh
man, that's brutal.
We had to do it in Eclipse, and IntelliJ supported that time. So like I really needed it actually. I saw like the thing like I just look at right now. The thing is not much has changed since that time. So
really,
yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not expect that.
Yeah, I mean like there must be like more components like added to it, but
I imagine they've added lots of new API features that just simplify things and add, a bit more features.
Yeah, I don't like Android development. Sorry.
Listen, I completely understand where you're coming from. There's so many new classes introduced and everything. Like the Java, like it feels bulky, right? Like all of the Java is such a verbose language. Like, and the Android and like the developers have completely embraced like the verboseness of it, and it kind of terrifies me.
I would be interested in trying like iOS, but like I don't know if like working on this project I don't know if it's like made me any more likely to do Android, but it made me understand a lot of things, which is good. It was a good learning experience.
Yeah.
That's very good.
It also like I thought this was gonna be like pretty doable. I thought we were gonna get a lot more done in like an hour, but now I understand why like Base 64 used to do just like simpler stuff.
Yeah, I think that again, I think I said it in officers, but if there's one administrative thing I take away from this meeting, next time we have to make sure they download everything they need before they show up, instead of during the second people have to install things at the meeting, it's game over. I think that's the core takeaway, because we waited until like we were at like 8:30 and people still hadn't been like had their stuff downloaded.
The thing
that was an issue.
The thing is, it will never happen.
I mean,
like you have to have like a one-time like workshop just installing everything and make it in a once at the same start point, and then next time like you have to actually do workshop.
You don't give the members enough credit. I think, like, most people who came to the workshop today had Android Studio installed already. All we could have done is been like, install Android Studio and install these packages on it, and we could have, like, written up a little tutorial for them with pictures and stuff,
Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but I doubt it, because
I totally understand that there's people who are too lazy to download anything. Like even me, I haven't downloaded anything. I just follow along with what Tony's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I was supposed to tell everyone that. Maybe I should have kept that one a secret. But no, of course there's gonna be people who are too lazy to actually download stuff and like not download stuff on time. I understand that that's how that works. But I mean, with those people, like, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and wait for them because like we told them that they had to download it. If they didn't download it, then I mean, like, yeah, you want to sit here and watch, go for it. You're not gonna have as much fun, but like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel like I feel like we're too old to baby people at this point. As fun as it is to baby people.
I'll see like a lot of freshmen are still more like a high schoolers, to be honest. Many of them are.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I feel like maybe more than just freshmen. There's a lot of kids who still have that high school vibe to them. Yeah. Hopefully not as many in the CS program. I see them a lot more in the humanities majors.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start bashing humanities. This is just gonna turn into stupid humanities slugfest.
Yeah. So I guess that's it.
All right. Yeah. Good work, Tony. That was. I mean, honestly, it was a good workshop. I thought I got a lot out of it personally. I don't know how everyone else felt, but as someone who actually understands Java very well, I thought that this was pretty informative. I definitely think for people who didn't understand Java as well, I think the coding portion may have been a bit complicated, but I hope they at least got some stuff out of the XML portion.
Yeah. I would have liked to cover a lot more. And then like, at least for me, like the first time I tried doing Android programming, like was probably like, I don't know, maybe when I was a freshman. I didn't really understand it that much. I think like just like doing it a little bit over and over again, eventually you'll kind of start to grasp more concepts.
How familiar were you with Java at the time?
Right, not super familiar, like because
you're doing some complex stuff, like you're implementing all the way that you implement. I forget what they call it when you implement event listeners like that, where you literally override the method as you declare the class. When you like create, you say new event listener class, and then you override the method. Yeah, these. I don't know. I keep forgetting what you call these, but this is very common in the Java like default libraries as well, like the Java's built-in libraries. And I remember this was like so confusing the first time I saw this, and it like took me a while to get the hang of this and like understand. Oh, okay, we're overriding methods in the new event listener class that we've created. But in Java, see, this is how you know that this was all done like pre-Java 8. Because after Java 8, the way that you do this is just with Lambda expressions. You literally just declare the function in line for the event listener, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, I did that somewhere. I used Lambdas in another file.
Let's see it.
I don't know where. Oh, right here.
Oh, yeah. See, this is how you do it in like post Java 8. And I remember like I was doing this right as Java 8 came out, and it was like such a godsend to get lambdas in, because I hated that syntax where you had to override the method every time. It was such a pain. I was like, oh my god, lambda expressions are the best thing to ever hit Java. And now I don't even know what's hit Java recently. Like they're all the way up to like Java 14 now or something crazy. I'm like, what? Excuse me?
Yeah.
Java 11 is actually a stable version right now.
Oh, okay.
I think Java 15 is gonna be next stable, or...
I don't even know what features they're releasing. Like, what new crazy language features have I missed out on?
Java 11 has something like like you have to, in the like past Java 7, 8, like you have to declare int something, right?
Oh, that's right. They added the auto keyword or whatever, like the equivalent is. Like it's var, right?
Yeah, they did var. So
oh my god, I forgot they did that. That's insane. It's literally JavaScript now.
No, it's not actually.
No, I know it's like the way they do it in C#, right? Like where you can.
I mean, I think
auto assigns.
I think like it came out similar times. C#. Because the thing is, we never used Java 11 in school. We only used Java 7. That's why we didn't know about it.
Wait, you guys only use Java 7 in 201?
Yeah.
Really? You guys don't have lambdas in 201? Oh man, that's so sad.
I mean, I didn't know lambda until like the last semester actually. I just learned it myself.
Yeah, the second lambdas came out, I was big on lambdas because I thought they were the most useful thing ever.
Yeah, it's basically make a functional programming now.
Oh yeah.
Dream, Java Stream, man.
Java Spring. Good me. I feel bad for you guys programming in Java Spring. React and Express are more comfy.
No, actually, Java Spring is so easy. Like,
Dan told me that. He said I was sleeping on Java Spring, and honestly, I might be sleeping on Java Spring. I'm on the fence because React plus Express is kind of like failing me at this point because of like crappy proxy issues. I hear you guys have everything built in Java Spring. All the security features, the sessions, it's all built in.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous, not gonna lie. It sounds comfy.
Like, it's actually really, really nice right now.
That's good to know. I definitely have to look into Java Spring.
I just had a lot of work.
Alright, before we keep everyone here, it's been like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
And everyone's still here. I don't know why you guys are still here. You guys could have left once I started rambling about Java features. But anyway, thank you all for coming. I mean, Tony should be saying the thank you, but I will just remind everyone, tomorrow night we have our side project development night, so feel free to pull up. We're going to be discussing different side projects. I mean, you can bring side projects that you want to work on or issues you've been having on your side projects. We'll be covering all of that. So that's tomorrow night. Next week we have our GitHub workshop, which Carolyn is hosting for us.
Yes.
That's going to be a very important workshop. I think it's going to be probably one of our most important workshops because honestly, as a programmer, learning how to use GitHub is like... So I've been a programmer for like 5 years, and I just started using GitHub over the summer, and man, it's like changed my life. Like, being able to archive all of my code and everything and like see statistics on my programming, like that's changed it for me, man. And then you can like put that on your resume and stuff. So like it's the best way to store your projects for your resume and everything. So yeah, GitHub workshop next Tuesday, very important. Yeah, and I mean Monday we have coding interview practice, IEEE professional development night, which those are very fun. We solve coding problems. In case you guys
we're having the workshop on Tuesday.
What did I say? Tuesday? I meant no. The workshop is on
Monday.
Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, nothing on Tuesday. My bad. It's on Wednesday. Okay. Anyway, yes. Thanks for coming, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry,
Tony.
Put you through 2.5 hours of that.
Tony, before you leave, what's the plan for the sequel to this workshop?
So I will. So I will post what we got through on the GitHub with the materials. As well as the I might just I'm gonna put this on my GitHub, like my project on GitHub. So I guess I'll probably just put a link to my project.
GitHub has a special system where you can link a repository.
Okay.
Through it's like a symbolic link if you know Linux, like in a different repository. I'll figure out how to do that later. We also do that for counters.
I just post the link for the last one.
Yeah, I mean that works too. Until we can figure out how to use GitHub's weird symbolic link system. Anyway, Tony, the next workshop slot that's available is November 11th, and other than that, then the last workshop is November 19th. So we're surprisingly we are out of workshops to give. Like, there's only 2 free workshop slots left, so which one would you prefer? Well, you don't have to decide right now. We'll figure that out later. Anyway, yes, thanks for coming, everybody. Hope to see you guys soon. Meeting adjourned. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, snap.
Alright, see you, Robin.
See ya.
And bye, Luna.